This information you are about to hear and perhaps view. These are not necessarily the thoughts or the ideas of Gary C.Clement or the Gary Clement Radio Show podcast. We are in no shape or form affiliated with the parties the story is about or was interviewed for. Parts of this content may not be owned by or the property of Gary C. Clement, the Gary C. Clement Radio Show podcast, or G2 Network Media, or any other company we are affiliated with, and this information is strictly the opinion of those being interviewed. This content is for information purposes only, and although we may make reference to various news stories, we share our own independent beliefs about the content and provide our own opinions. Please enjoy the information. Hi, my name is Gary C. Clement, and welcome to the Gary Clement Radio Show and Podcast. Today, we are very privileged to have with us for a second time, Theresa Merritt Watson, who's the author of several books, including books that are geared to our kids, our young people, and our communities. She's here today to talk about all of this. How are you?
How are you doing? It's such an honor to be here, and thank you so much.
So let's expound a little bit on the books that you have for young kids, for the community, and Blacks in Technology.
Well, I have Black Tech, and it's Leadership in Technology, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. We're coming out, our next book's coming out is STEM, but we have about 20 books that's coming out, Blacks in Technology, Blacks in medicine, Blacks in science, Blacks in aviation, and so that we can showcase the great things that African Americans have done in building this country and how profound impact that we have had. But it's something that not only the schools don't give our kids, the parents do not give it to our kids because they themselves don't know it. And this is what the topic is today, is the commitment that we have to our children. And my focus is African American children. And so as the country is scrapping over whether or not we should teach Black history in our school, it's not a matter of whether you teach Black history. We are the fiber of the development of this country, even in today's market. We have Mark Dean that created the color monitor, Gladys West, Jesse Russell with the cell phone, Gladys West with the GPS, the refrigerator truck, and the list just goes on. The steel, the stabilization of steel, so you can have all those high rises that you have, those big buildings you have in New York and Chicago and everywhere. So without these things that Black people have done, there would not be the America as we know it today. That's what and so this is the problem. You say, okay, well, we invented these things. What's the real deal? The problem is that our kids don't know that we have done these things. It gives you a sense of pride. You this knowing who you are, give you a sense of belonging. Now, if we had taken on the responsibility of ensuring that people of color, Black people, knew the great things that we had done, they would approach school a different way. Our kids don't see themselves threaded through the fiber of the educational system, so it makes it very difficult for them to feel like they're part of it. But as a parent, and I do have 6 kids, as a parent, it is our job to make sure that we let our kids leave home with some of that self-esteem that they need, by letting them know that we're integral parts. When you look at the color monitor, when you look at your cell phone, when you go out to your GPS, these are major, major things. But you don't see Black people taking on pride. But we will take Robert E. Lee and give him the hallelujah praise when the man, I'm not saying he didn't do some great things, but what I'm saying, he was not good to Black people. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, Black people for many, many years have been a community of people. And so consequently, they work within the community to make sure that everybody have some form of success. Mm-hmm. And so now we can't do that because our school system is not designed for us. And so it's more on an individual basis. And so what you have to pay attention to what our kids are getting. Let them leave home knowing who they are. So that's why my books are written at this level, but also anybody that pick up my book can learn a black fact. And it's not things that's negotiable or none of that. And, Gary,
Mm-hmm.
this is when it became real important to me. It became very obvious to me. And that is when I learned that the African that we send our kids to school and we taught them for many years about Christopher Columbus, that Christopher Columbus discovered America. That's how it was put in the book. Then we learned some other facts that Africa was put in a smaller frame. When we pulled down the map, Africa looked smaller than Europe. When you can, in fact, have 6 or 7 countries sit inside of Africa, we allow things to happen in the education and curriculum that we have that we know is not true. It's simply, some of those things are simply not true. But knowing that they're not true and our lack of involvement allow them to continue to print out things that they know are not true. And so how do we combat stuff like that?
Right. I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so this is the goal with the fiber that's going on today, the environment that we have today under the current system. Black people have to take an active role in educating our children. That means, okay, you got a child and you young, you got to realize that for the next 16 years or so, make the commitment so that you have your free time. Your kids won't be going to jail and won't be doing this or doing various other things. But we're losing our kids by 3rd grade. We, as a group of people, allow them to say, okay, well, they don't know the material, just keep pushing them through school. And then 60% plus, actually, of African Americans that's incarcerated have an IEP, some type of disability.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a record.
Right.
Any other system would be taking a look to see what's going on. So those are the things that people need to, and our kids get in high school, they can't read. Why? Because the black people have sat down and said, okay, my kid in 1st grade, and I'm just going to let you keep passing them on. I just want to be in the 3rd grade. I want to be in the 4th grade, but they can't read. They can't do math. And so when they graduate, they can't do anything. I talked to a little boy the other day. He's 22 years old, a young man, actually, 22. He had never had a job. Well, he can't keep a job. He lived with his mama, and he's just there. He said, I don't know what I want to do in life. Well, 22 is not the time that you want to be trying to invoke some passion, trying to show this kid how to take a look at some of the things that he's doing and get exposure to various things to see where his passion lies and try to help him learn the skills that it takes to pursue something, to pursue a passion. It's like, and then what is your purpose? Our kids not getting that kind of terminology.
Right.
And so, but these things come from home. We have turned our kids over to a system that is designed for indoctrination and not education. And so until we release, till we commit ourselves and to educate our own kids, we're going to continue to send them and let them have this kind of problem in an environment that we have right now.
Back in the day, the church used to play a role in educating our kids in the household as well as in the community. Would you say that the church is still involved to that degree?
Well, the church is a key component, but I think with some of the change of the dynamics, it's easy to get it back. And I say it's easy to get it back, but the church would teach your first speaking engagement came from church. So you weren't getting that at a Carolina or a Duke, all that in the forefront without some type of pushback. The church was an encouraging tool as well. And so when you enter those spaces, it's a safe space. And you don't get that when you go to school, because you could do something as a Black man that is definitely minor by your standards, that can be magnified into a way that can reshape your attitude about school. But in church, you have a safety net. Those people make sure that they give you kudos as you're trying. You may not have been the best at it, but you got this hand clap and you got, yes, go ahead, you did a great job, because they want to encourage you to do better. Now, that's a key component that's missing. And we do have a program that's coming out, I think it's in May, and I've talked about it once before, a Lead and Read, where the African American Church joined the nonprofit Senator Training Solutions, and their members will get an African American student in the community, and that student will read to them for 10 minutes once a week. And we'll collect the data on the book, on the number of pages, the school they attend, and as we measure their growth. And so that starts in May. Another program that starts April 17th, and we're getting African American children to come online, and one child will read for 10 minutes African American material. My book is going to be the first one read, Black Tech, which is on Amazon. And the reader will read for 10 minutes, and we get off the phone. It's, Thursday at 7 o'clock, and we go in and we making sure our kids learn some Black facts. Things that's not in my book. There's a lot of Black facts out there. Things that's not in my book, and some things that are in there. But each week, we will have a different student throughout the country that have signed up to be a reader and get a book that's approved, and just read for 10 minutes. And a lot of kids between first and fourth grade would join us.
I see. You also have a book that's geared towards STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Please tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, what you expect in STEM, and STEM is the individuals that is coming out in April, and so I'm excited about the book, because STEM is like a hot topic. For people that don't know what STEM is, it's science, technology, engineering, and math. Right. And so when you, we have contributed in such a profound way in those areas. And like I mentioned before, we have Mark Dean that has just done they have done so many things and such wonderful things that it's hard for you to take a look at a computer monitor and not see it in color. And I think about that sometimes, because I remember when my first monitor that I got was black and white. I don't know if you remember that. And you look at Patricia Bath. She had a situation with people were having cataracts, going blind, and she just decided that this is something she wants to study and learn more about. And she did the laser probe. And so as we go to the doctor now, and we got to have the cataracts in that machine that you use, it was designed by a Black woman, Patricia Bath. They laser probe, and that machine, you know how you just click your eyes, it just keep going to make sure. She created that. And so we have Shirley Jackson, which she was a scientist but she grew up. She made, the touchstone phone,
Mm-hmm.
which we have now. We have it on cell phone, but at one time we had it landline, and the portable fax machine. This is what Shirley Jackson created. This is going to be in our technology. Now, she was a phenomenal woman. Um, and she's actually still living. And so you look at Alice Ball, and Alice Ball did a cure. She went through a plant, but she did a cure for leprosy. That they used to, well, of course, most of us read that in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the people that we have in our STEM, some of the people we have in STEM. And, Tara Fletcher, she's a rocket designer. And this is what I want to tell people. These aren't people that's so old that they say, oh, they did that back in the day. Black African Americans are doing things today. Tiara was born in 1993. That makes her 31 years old.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
And she's a rocket designer.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's been instrumental, and she have patents. So one of the things I want to say to you is that when we see African Americans, you see people going around and they don't have hands, or they using these apparatus to feed themselves because they have some type of disability that prohibits them from being fed. The the one African American, Bessie Blunt Griffin, she created the electric self-feeding apparatus. And so you see people that you don't even think about Black people creating this. And of course, most of us know Mae Jemison,
Mm-hmm.
and she was the first woman to zoom into space.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So these are the type of people. And one that I absolutely love, and I have to showcase this because all this is always in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Montefiore,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a really great history. And what Ray Montefiore did is that she created the first Navy ship. She drew that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
She worked with people that was designing the ships by hand and everything, and she learned the computer. And when she was on the ship, they was talking about they got to get this design, and she asked permission to do it, and nobody really took her serious, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But she designed the first computer ship. The first ship with computer was done by a Black woman.
Wow. Wonderful.
And the thing with her, in all of my books, one of the things you'll see is I will have people that went to HBCUs, historically Black college. I will also have list of ones that went to PWI, but the HBCUs are highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
And I will list people that did not go to college at all. Like in my previous book, we had Lewis Latimer, Garrett Morgan, Frederick Jones, Alexander Mount. They didn't go to college, but they were still successful in the craft that they created, in the craft that was pronounced all over the world: elevators, freezer trucks, deep, the light filament. I say all that because Ray Montefiore, she did not go to college,
Mm-hmm.
but she learned building ship on that skill. And she did go to Pine Bluff, but I don't think she finished.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow.
So I just keep going through here just to showcase the greatness of African Americans. And that's George Acorn is in the book. Now, where would we be without an X-ray speedometer?
Mm-hmm.
Where would we be? He even won the Inventor of the Year. So he did the imaging X-ray.
Right.
And so this book really highlight some really special things in our
Okay.
in our culture. in our culture. So this is just, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's just so much, thousands of inventions that we have done. And I literally mean thousands.
For those people who want to learn more about you and the books that you've authored, as well as other events that you have going on, how do they reach you exactly?
My name is Theresa Merritt Watson. If you want me to speak in any of your engagements or anything, you can dial 919-274-2370, or you can just simply send me an email at Synergy Network LLC1 at Gmail. Okay. And if you want to take a look at, we have created Caro. Caro gives you a Black fact every week. And there's a Black fact with each one of the inventors 4 days a week. And you can look at that on YouTube or either Instagram or TikTok. And it's called Black Tech Book, just Black Tech Book. That's the Instagram handle. And that's the YouTube handle as well. And so it's Instagram, it's Black Tech Book. And you could go on and learn facts about Black tech, about African American, not just this book. There are more people than what's in the book. You learn that in this. But we got to develop some things for our kids. Our kids need to know about passion. They need to know about how to pursue their passion. And they need to know about their purpose. You don't want kids graduating and the first time they heard the word purpose is when they finish high school, or when they're incarcerated, or when they on a job, like trying to figure out what's your purpose. People die and never figure out why they were here. We're all here for a reason. And our kids are missing the creativity and problem-solving skills. And we have to get that back for us to change the trajectory of the African American in education and economics. We have to get it back.
We really do appreciate our guests who participated in this episode, and we hope you learned something that will bless your day and your life. For all who are interested in learning more about the Gary Clement Radio Show podcast, please visit www.amazon.com and order my book, The Gary Clement Radio Show, When Strong Afro-American Men and Women Stand Up. It covers everything about us and features a variety of Afro-American personalities who speak out about the importance of education and literacy in the Black community. Well, we thank you for tuning into our podcast. Please send us your email address so we can contact you when we have new releases and new episodes and new projects as well. You can reach us at gccpresents@yahoo.com. And also, if you're interested in submitting any materials or want to get in touch with us, please do so by simply sending an email to gccpresents@yahoo.com. That's G as in Gary, C as in Charlie, C as in Charlie, presents@yahoo.com. So until next time, do take care. And this is a G-Tube Network Media production.